Ceremonies we do at that time is puberty, because that's the time just before a young boy or a young girl become a young woman or a young man. So for the young boys, their voices change, and so it's a sign as their voice is changing that they have to have ceremony done to get them ready for the responsibilities of being a respectful male. And so they're taken by the uncles or by the men into the woods, and they're taught about hunting, they're taught about how to respect women, they're taught about how to respect themselves, how to resist temptation from their peers of hurting their bodies and their spirits. And for young girls, they would have been picking berries. And actually, when we do the ceremony in August, there's actually raspberries growing, and trust me, it's tempting for the young girls who are doing ceremony to see the raspberries that they can't pick, but if they pick them, they have to bring them to the fire for the offering. And so what we do in that time is, when we do the puberty, is to start them understanding how to respect their thinking, because your thinking changes from a little girl to a young woman, because now that you've had your first moon time, there's a responsibility that goes with that. So what can you do on your moon time? What can't you do on your moon time? What should you be doing on your moon time? So traditionally, the grandmothers and the aunties used to take the women, and they would teach at that moon time, and they would have like a moon lodge. And so in that lodge would be the teachings where the young girls, their chores at home were taken care of by the rest of the family, because their moon time was being celebrated. And so she would learn how to bead, how to weave, how to make a drum, how to sew, how to knit, how to write, how to, so those were all things. So older women would come and tell them, what they've learned and how they've learned it. And so they would have been picking berries, but they weren't allowed to eat the berries till after their fast. And then, so they would learn to pick them and make medicines from it, and also bake, and then take it to, I picked these berries for you, and I made this raspberry pie, or strawberry rhubarb, or whatever. And so after their fast is done, the community would then treat her and say, we've made you something with berries to thank you for your sacrifice to us. And for the young men, when they're taught for their first hunt, it's celebrated, so that young man usually doesn't taste, he has to give the meat to everybody else first. If there's nothing left, he has to carry the honor of those people he gave it to. Man, that moose you caught was so tender, it was so good, thank you for that, and we use it for this ceremony. So this young boy then gets to hear, wow, if I hunt, then I'm going to get praise from my community, and I'm going to be a provider, and so that's what a young boy is taught. And so this is the month that we usually do that ceremony for young boys and young girls, to teach them into transitioning from childhood and being more responsible as a young adult, either male or female. So, okay.